Grand Bazaar has made Battlefield 6 fun again. I think it's a great remake of a map, and I've been sinking a lot of hours into it lately. But all of Season 3 has been good, honestly. I mean, the Railway to Goldmond remake is good. You got the M16, which is kind of one of the OG rifles from Battlefield 3, and just the series in general. And you got the RPK 74M, so it's a lot more content than we had, and I'm not complaining. So if you don't know, Grand Bazaar is a remake of Grand Bazaar from Battlefield 3, and it was one of the better maps on that game. I think it was one of the ones that was pretty popular, up there with like Operation Metro and Operation Firestorm. And the reason being is because of the capture point in the middle, which is essentially just a long corridor with the point right in the middle of it, but there's no cover in between anything. So one side is at one end of the corridor, the other on the end, and then you got to fight to control the capture point in the middle. And it's just that really good, chaotic kind of meat grinder gameplay. And for a smaller map in a Battlefield game, it plays really well. And it always has. It definitely did in Battlefield 3. There's some slight differences in the 6 version that are different from the 3 version. One of the big changes is that the streets are more narrow. At least they seem more narrow compared to the original version. And I think that allows the combat to be a little bit more condensed. So there's less room for vehicles to move around, and there's fewer flanking routes. But the sight lines from one end of the street to the other are still really far, so you can have long-range engagements, but there's still enough cover and alleyways in between, so you're not going to get blasted right away. And they're definitely different visually. I know a lot of people who've played Battlefield 3 remember the really blue filter they had on everything. I don't know what everyone else feels about it, but I always really liked that filter, that blue tint to everything. I think it added charm to the game. I think they should have added the blue filter just for nostalgia purpose, but that's just me. But I did another video on my channel about Battlefield 6, and in it I just mentioned how the game graphically it looks great, and it is cool to see some of the older maps remastered and look the way they do. It's great. But the centerpiece of this map, the capture point in the middle, I think is where the biggest difference is, and I think it's a good thing. In Battlefield 3, in the center corridor, there's no roof over the point, or along the entire corridor there's no roof, but in the Battlefield 6 version, it's basically like a closed off marketplace, so it has like a roof that runs the entire length of the corridor. And with the level of destruction in 6, that means that you can blow chunks out of the roof and create piles of rubble in the center along the entire corridor. So it breaks up sight lines and it makes points of cover that didn't exist before. So it just makes the game a little bit more dynamic, and I think it makes the map play a little bit better, because in the original one, you didn't have that, so it was just an open corridor with not a lot of cover in the center. So you're getting blasted anytime you pop your head out, but in this version it makes it a little bit easier to move up, and it just makes the game feel more dynamic overall, because you might have some games where people don't shoot the roof at all and it stays intact. You might have others where the ceiling comes crashing down, and there's other parts of the map that are destructible. I mean, most buildings can come down. You can bring out like the entire walls and entire floors of buildings to expose like snipers or engineers trying to take out tanks, stuff like that. So it just makes the map feel more dynamic, even more so than it was in 3. If you're like me, you might play the game several different ways. Sometimes I want to jump in the IFV and just roll around farming kills. Sometimes I want to be assault and play the objective. I also like to be a little ninja and hang out in the back with the sniper rifle. I will get that mini scout leveled up sooner or later. I just don't know when. That's a really hard rifle to use. But I feel like 3 and 6 are opposites in terms of gameplay, whereas in Battlefield 3 you move slower, but the time to kill was also slower. And now it feels like in Battlefield 6 you move faster, but the time to kill is faster. And I think one place you're really going to feel that is the center capture point, because of just the meat grinder nature of it and how close quarters and cramped it is. It gives you the ability to wipe out entire squads if you get lucky, but it also makes it so that you have to move a lot more cautiously, because you can just get blasted at any time, especially when everyone is spamming smoke grenades and some people have thermal optics and they're just shooting you through the smoke. But it's always satisfying to be able to pull those things off. Or sometimes you might have a really well coordinated team and you can just clear the entire objective by bounding up and just clearing all the little alleyways and corners. I mean, you have to be really well coordinated, but when you do it, it's super satisfying. One criticism I might have is that because of the movement speed being faster, it feels like games end in one side completely just wiping out the other one pretty effortlessly. I feel like I've played a lot of games of Conquest on this map in Battlefield 6 where the games ended because one team completely captured all the objectives and the other team couldn't even come close to stopping them. Or one of those times in Rush or Breakthrough where the attacking team just wipes out the defending team, so they all have to respawn at the back and they just set up at the objective and capture it before the other team can get there. It's happened to me like multiple times playing this. But these two new maps have been really good for the game. This one and the Railway to Golmond remake that they did. I think the gameplay for Battlefield 6 is really good. I think it was just the maps, the launch maps, that were kind of holding it back, because now that you can play the game on the remakes, it feels a lot better than playing on the base maps. At least in my opinion it does. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. I think a big chunk of that is due to the enhanced destruction and the quicker time to kill. It just makes all your movements a little bit more thoughtful, and the enhanced destruction just makes every match play out different. And of course, graphically speaking, it looks great. I mean, it just looks like a crazy, awesome Michael Bay action movie. Like every Battlefield match always looks like something out of a war movie or an action movie, and it's awesome. And luckily, the next season is naval warfare themed, and it's bringing back Wake Island, which is like an OG map in the series. I think it's been in like almost every single game since it started, so that's great. I think like a naval warfare themed expansion is awesome. I don't know what the other map is going to be like. I mean, from what I've seen of it, it looks cool, like from the little they've shown of it. And I mentioned it earlier, they've been adding more weapons too. Like I was talking about the M16. I don't know about you guys, but every other gun I get killed by is the M16, and I've been running it a lot lately. So let me know in the comments if you've been running the M16 and what your setup is, because I'm kind of curious. I'm just glad that they're adding new maps finally. I don't know about the rest of you, but most of the launch maps on this I took off my rotation for when I'm playing the game, just because I don't see the point in playing on half of them anymore when we have remakes of already better maps that we could be playing. Obviously, there's a little bit of nostalgia involved because the Battlefield 3 version was so good, and that game just overall was really great. There's a lot of things in that game I wish would come back. Like, I think the suppression system from Battlefield 3 was a lot better than it is in 6. Like, sniper rifles and LMGs actually blurred your entire screen, but now it feels like they barely do anything. But if you haven't played the game in a while, I think now's a good time to jump in, because I think the next season comes out next month, so you'll have that naval warfare update coming out. But I think the game is in a good spot now versus where it was when it launched. I mean, I think now it's actually worth the $70, so if you haven't bought it, I think now you actually get your money's worth, which is good. But if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me grow the channel a little bit. And be on the lookout for more videos. I'm going to be posting Catch Me Live on Twitch. I stream almost every day. Those were just some quick thoughts I had on it, and that'll do it for the video. All right, later.